Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weenie Hollow 2021. We're going to be playing Call of Cthulhu as we do in every one of these Weenie Hollow series. And if you're not familiar, it's a horror tabletop role-playing game system based on the Cthulhu mythos, although we won't really be touching on that because it's just more fun to make our own stuff. But it works very well for horror. It deals with sanity and the feeling that the player characters, the investigators as they're called, will be or are very mortal and fragile, which is better than our typical 5e system of playing things. I, Luke, will be acting as the keeper of arcane lore, keeper for short, in this one shot. And my players are here as well, and they're gonna explain some rules.
Hi, I'm player one. This is not a very good, continuation of the whole atmosphere, but my name is Ben, and there's some interesting rules about Call of Cthulhu where it's sort of similar to Dungeons and Dragons in a way, but you have stats like strength, con, dex, intelligence. Then you have ones like size, power, appearance, and education. And essentially you do roll dice, but instead of just rolling a d20 for a lot of your actions, you will be rolling a d100. And in this case, a lower number means you have a higher chance of success. So it's very much the opposite of how D&D does it, where big number, in this case, big number, no, big bad.
Big number, good for me. I appreciate big number.
No!
So each of your skills, you have an associated percentage next to them, which means you have to roll equal to this or under this number in order to get a success. And your character can have multiple different specialties for these skills.
Yep.
So, for example, someone might be really good at driving a car, so they'll have a higher chance of operating a vehicle if the situation ever arises.
Yeah.
Same with like persuasion, all sorts of different skills.
Another rule in terms of wanting to roll under your ability score is that certain rolls that are more difficult might actually necessitate a lower roll. So next to all of our stats, we also have the number that is half of that stat and 1/5 of that stat listed too. For a particularly challenging roll, we might have to roll not only under our stat number, but under half of our stat number, or a fifth of our stat number. And a particularly low roll is sort of a critical success. I think we call it a critical success.
Yes.
And roll between 96 and 100 is a fumble. So particularly high or particularly low rolls might also indicate extreme results.
Yes.
This game also uses the concept of luck, and you want to roll your luck whenever something that you're doing seems to be something that would require luck in real life. And you would, again, want to roll lower than your luck stat in order to possibly be lucky. If not, then you're very unlucky.
Yes, in which case you can get very, very unlucky.
And maybe
so
dying.
Maybe dying.
Maybe death.
And then I think the only remaining thing that I already touched on is the sanity mechanic. Sanity is based on your power, which is a stat which measures your mental fortitude or just your attunement with magic and occult things in the world. And so if you encounter some strange or unknown item or phenomena in the world while playing, you will roll or just something frightening, you'll roll a sanity check. And if you fail, you will lose sanity. And if you succeed, you might still lose sanity, but less. And if you lose too much sanity, you will go temporarily or permanently insane, which has minor ramifications for a short-term game like this, but I'll do the best I can. And then just the final thing about these are very fragile characters. They are not meant to fight. They can, but they are very, very weak, and the world is very, very strong. And I think that covers most of it.
Yes.
Yep. It really gives an insight onto like the crushing weight of this game and the world that people play in.
And definitely anything that we missed will come up during playing session. So
yeah.
We could also link a thing of the quick start rules in the
we can
episode
link
description
the quick
if people
start
would want to take a look at them themselves.
Absolutely. So just peek on down there if we decided that, or they'll be down there. There'll be a link. But without further ado. To all those who peruse these pages,
The events contained within these papers may cause shock and awe.
Readers may duck beneath their covers at mentions of cannibalistic crewmates.
Peek behind their fingers lest they read of eviscerated eyeballs.
Run screaming from words of deadly drownings.
or drop their books in shock at violence too vicious to describe.
Do you dare to proceed forward?
Are you ready for the shocking events contained in this very book?
Then prepare yourself to venture beyond the cover and embark upon the journey of the Aegolius. We see a strange sky. It seems that snow is falling, although it looks to be almost staticky in nature. Black and white, with some mixed in other colors, reds and greens, but those are faint. The predominant colors are just a white and a black in this snow which falls from the sky. It's falling into a small open cavern, or rather a cavern which has a crack in the ceiling. It's falling down on a open work table, bookshelves, there's chairs with papers piled atop of them. It seems to be a cavern that is turned into a workshop and is currently being used in some sort of, or is currently in some state of uncleanliness. A man wearing a dark, dirty robe is running his fingers along books on a bookshelf. He has a shaggy brown beard and short cut brown hair. He seems to be humming to himself, and he'll say to someone, maybe, it seems like he's speaking to someone, "Whenever it's cold, I always get a hankering to read one of these books. It's here somewhere. I should be able to find it." And he rummages and runs his hand along the spines of all those books on that bookshelf before finding one, a thin book, not too long, and pulls it from the bookshelf. On the spine is written in a gold text, "The Voyage of the Aegolius." And he'll pull that out, open it to the front page. You hear the spine of the book crack a little bit as if it's not been moved in a long time. And Faramel moves to sit down in a chair here in his workshop, and still addressing that other person who seems to be here, he'll say, "You don't mind if I take a second and read this? Nothing's really happening. We have to wait anyways, and maybe you'll enjoy the story." And he waits and looks almost as if he's hoping for a response to whoever he's talking to. But when he gets none, he carries on reading this book, starting with chapter 1, Voyage of the Aegolius. It is the last day of summer. It is a warm day, and the sun is high above you, or is getting to be there. It's still early in the morning. There is a long ship docked in the port, or docked in the harbor of Redford. We are in the midst of a hustle and bustle as crew members rush to and fro, preparing the ship for its voyage. Across the stern, the Aegolius is painted. It is a steel ship. It has a large bow. It just looks bulbous in the front, unlike a regular ship, something designed almost as if it's to push through and break things, break ice. And the hull itself is thick and reinforced. The ship sits lower in the water than it ought to for a ship this size. It's just carrying that much weight upon it. Large smokestacks which jut out from the top of the ship, and the bridge extends high above so that there is lots of visibility. Large panes of glass reveal that there are many crew members on that bridge working and figuring out navigational final touches before the trip, before the expedition, I should say. There is a ramp, or a set of stairs, rather, leading up to the deck proper. Standing in front of it, checking things off of a manifest, is a middle-aged dwarven woman. She has graying hair and a very, very worn, leathery face. Walking up to this woman, Carla, could you describe your character, who she is, as she walks up to this dwarven woman?
It is a short-haired, sand-colored tabaxi with dark gray stripes running along her arms. She's wearing a caramel-colored leather poncho above her breathable white button-up that's folded to her elbows, and khaki pants that goes all the way down to her ankles.
I see.
This character's name is Aspen Forsteri.
Ooh.
Aspen Forsteri. So as Aspen Forsteri walks up to this dwarven woman, she will look up at you for a moment and then very quickly back down to the manifest, flipping through pages, and she will say, "Can I help you? Because we're going... It's a very busy day, so if you're getting on the ship, get on the ship. You should find some people ready enough to show you around. You don't look to be crew, or else you would have been here at sunrise. So, can I help you?"
No. I am going into the ship. Thank you. And I'm going to look back, and I'm going to say bye to a human that is standing on the dock.
Okay.
And I'm going to be like, I am going to go with you. I am sorry.
You say that to the dwarven woman? Or you say that to the man waiting on the dock? I'm very confused.
I'm saying this to the dwarven woman. Why are you so angry?
Me? I've been trying to get this ship ready for the expedition for weeks and weeks, and now that today's the final day and people are showing up late. You're late here. Everyone was supposed to be here at 8 a.m. and now it's 10 and we've not left yet. Get on board. Someone will show you to your crew quarters. Everyone else should be waiting there. There's a few people remaining, stragglers, but get on the ship. And she glares at you. She seems tense.
Okay. You don't have to be that pushy.
And we follow this sandy-colored tabaxi up the ramp and on to the ship. People point you in directions, just assorted crew members, people wearing thick woolen sweaters. As you look around, Aspen, you see a motley crew of sailors, people missing fingers, people with large scars on their face, lots of people with tattoos, lots of ink around the deck of this ship, lots of yelling, some whistling. People seem to be in good spirits, besides the shipmaster down at the dock still, trying to organize everything. The crew itself is in good spirits. And very easily you can be pointed towards the mess hall and crew quarters. You descend into the rusty steel ship. You hear creaking coming from beneath you, and it feels warm as you walk in, even warmer than it is outside as you enter. The mess hall is loud. There seem to be people yelling and just having too good of a time in there. And you see a large sign that says crew quarters. Do you have any bags with you?
A big duffel bag that is running behind me.
Okay. You're in the mess hall. There's the crew quarters in front of you. You're on the first lower deck of the ship. Do you want to go do anything? Look around? Would you like to perceive or interact with the world in any meaningful way?
So the crew is not busy, right?
There are crew members here that do not seem to be busy. They're eating, seemingly on break. And then there is people putting things away in the quarters.
Well, I think I'm going to come up to some of the people that doesn't seem to be too busy, and I'm going to be like, what's that dwarven woman's hang up?
You walk up to a greasy young man. He's sitting there. He has his hair pushed back, and his face just looks to be covered in sweat, as if he was working and is now taking a rest. He will say, who you talking about? Shipmaster Wright? Down by the Shipmaster Wright. That's the only dwarven woman who would be yelling about stuff. Is that who you're talking about, right?
I guess so.
Oh, she's always tense. This is my fifth voyage with her, fifth contract under a ship that she's running. It's no fun to be around her. She yells a lot, but she runs a tight ship at the very least. I'm pretty sure Captain hired her on just because she has experience going up north and everything. You're not an actual member of the crew, is you? Else you'd be here already, right? Or you'd be helping out or something. You look way too well read or well dressed to be one of us. And his friend laughs when he says that.
Definitely not. I'm just accompanying all of you and checking what's up there.
Okay. If you ain't a member of the crew, or at least a member of the sailing crew, you should be in cabin 7. They put special stuff aside for the rest of you. 7 or 8. One of them is the boiler masters, and one of them is a whole messy crew. We loaded some cargo in this morning for them. Don't quite know, some explosives in there and medical equipment and stuff. Had to move that around, but if you're looking to lie down or put your stuff away, I'd head down that way. And until we get out on the sea, I just stay out of people's way.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I will
No problems. The name's Mason, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Mason.
And he'll stick out his hand.
And I'm going to shake Mason's hand.
Okay. It is calloused and greasy, as if he has been working on machinery.
Nice. Yeah.
Mason the Grease Master.
Yeah, Mason the Grease Master.
So I'll
Love
just
that.
walk to like cabin 7 or 8.
Okay.
And check that out.
You head through very many of these doorways raised up off of the floor and very narrow. People are pushing past you in these narrow hallways. They seem to be about, the actual halls themselves are about 8 feet tall, and they are wide enough for 2 people to squeeze past, no wider. And it is very dimly lit. Each of these compartments on the left and right has 2 bunk rooms, and there is only 1 light shared between everything.
Okay.
As you're walking, it seems that there is about 6 beds in each of these bunk rooms, and you walk the length of the ship almost before you reach number 7 and number 8. Looking right into number 8, you see that it is empty. There is a lot of overalls hung up in here and some names posted on the door, none of which are yours. Looking to your left, Aspen, you see that there is a list of 6 other names. One of them is yours, and there are 2 other people inside this room. Actually, 3. But 2 of them can introduce themselves now. Ben, could you describe your character and what he's doing sitting here in this room, please?
So this room has beds and stuff laying out.
It's a bunk room. There are 3 beds on either wall and then a small closet at the end. It is a very, very narrow and cramped room.
Okay. So laying down on one of these middle beds, sort of like laying on his back with his legs crossed. He's wearing looks like worn steel toe boots, some baggy and rough looking cargo pants. They've got on like a white tank top, and they've got like a heavy fur coat that's like not like tied up around their waist. Kind of just like almost nodding off a little bit. They are about 5'8" in height. They are a green tiefling with messy, medium-length blonde hair, and their tail is kind of like sloped over the side of the bed. And their name is Liam Vicari.
Liam Vicari. Yeah, as the camera shows Liam Vicari in the bed, it flashes back to that name card on the outside of the door, Aspen, as you look down at it and just know inside of your head that is this person's name.
Okay.
And then one of the other people in this room, Sam, could you describe your character, please?
Yeah, my character sitting on her bed. I think she's playing like solitaire just on like the end of the bed, just kind of like leaning over and just doing something to pass the time. She is an elf with interesting hair. The sides are deep brown, but the top of her hair, a little bit longer than the other part, is pure white. And she's a bit tan, and on her face are these little they look like moles, but they're just kind of like dotted around her face. And she's wearing a baggy like gray t-shirt with and she has a large white coat with like gray fur around the edges. Set up like behind her back as like an extra pillow. And she's wearing these brown pants, and she's not wearing any shoes or socks, but next to the bed you can see like these they look like these old like work boots, these brown work boots. And
Perfect.
she goes by Miss Winthrow.
Miss Winthrow. Those are two of the people you see in this room, Aspen, and the two of you can see standing at the door this sandy-colored tabaxi, a cat folk for the uninitiated. Additionally, in this room, there is a young dragonborn. He has red scales, bright red. It's particularly blends in kind of down here below deck due to some of the rust on the walls, but stands out nonetheless because he is a person. And he is sitting in one of the bottom bunks and seems to be like fidgeting with his shoes a little bit. Also wearing steel-toed boots, Liam Vakari. What do you all want to do and talk about in this moment?
I'm going to knock and sort of to get their attention.
Mm-hmm. A loud, hollow, metallic knock rings out, and your eyes all are pulled to the doorway.
I'm going to do like a
salute.
Like a salute, like, "Hi everyone. My name is Aspen, and I'm going to be in this room with you."
Winthrow. She looks back down to her solitaire game.
Liam's just kind of gonna look over a little bit, almost disinterested, and sort of just kind of gives like a brief nod and then just goes right back to sleeping.
Oh, dang.
Cold shoulder.
The young dragonborn who was fidgeting with his shoes, like tying and untying his laces, or just like to be very uncomfortable, will look up and say, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. My name's Gizmund. You can call me you can call me Gizmo though. That's all my friends call me Gizmo. It's nice to meet you." And he like gulps mightily. He's very thin.
I'm going to like go to a bunk that is for me, and I'm going to set my stuff up. And so, what are you all doing here?
I'm a junior boiler master. They were gonna put me in the room across the way, but there's already 6 other boiler masters on the ship, so they threw me in here as a spare.
I think Winthrow kind of realizing, okay, this person wants to have a conversation, kind of just like sits up and leans back on her coat, and she looks over to Aspen, and she just says, "Going on a bit of an adventure, change of scenery, that sort of thing. See what I can find." And kind of like gives like a kind of tight smile.
Sounds to me like we're in it for the same things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I study natural sciences at Bordelot University, and just wanted to have a change and see the parts of the world that I've never seen before.
There's no change to Winthrow's expression, but she does like nod like she is listening, and she goes, "Well, I hope you find something fun and interesting then. It'll be nice to experience something new."
Clearly, I understand that no one here wants to talk to me, so I am just going to like continue fumbling with my stuff, and I guess do stuff quietly.
Winter goes back to her solitaire game.
No one wants to talk.
Okay. So as you unpack your things, Aspen, and the rest of you go back to your mindless tasks, Liam sleeps comfortably. Gizmo, sitting on that bottom bunk, looks uncomfortable with the silence, but it resigns himself to the fact that none of his cabin mates will be speaking to one another, and continues like fiddling with his shoes. You do, after a few minutes of this, after you get situated, Aspen, hear like the clunking of heavy boots on the floor coming down the hallway, and you'll hear a yell that says, "Hey, Gizmund, get out of here! One of the boiler masters got burnt. You gotta come out here. We gotta replace him. Come on, get out here!" And like someone's head pops around the corner. It's this like really old grizzled looking elf with like a missing ear, and he goes, "Hey, Gizmund, come on!" And like looks at Gizmund. He's wearing like heavy overalls that look well insulated. On one of the patches, it says Boiler Master. And he'll even step into the room and grab that young dragonborn by the collar and drag him out almost.
I'm gonna sort of like briefly wake up and acknowledge what's going on, and Liam's just gonna like raise a hand up and be like, "Go get him, little geezer."
Okay. And this young dragonborn is pulled out from your cabin. And we follow that duo as they enter back into the mess hall and head to that main staircase and head down further into the depths of the ship of the Aegolius until they reach the very bottom. They pass by another man who is being brought up the stairs, pulled up the stairs by another person wearing a Boilermaster kind of set of overalls. He seems very badly burnt, as if like steam kind of burns.
Oh, no.
Got to him. And he is, as Gizmo and this other Boilermaster enter into the boiler and engine room at the base of the ship, this burnt man is pulled up one flight of stairs and into a very cramped room. There's cabinets lining the walls. There's one flickering light above and then a oil lamp sitting on the desk. There are 2 beds that are built atop of cabinets almost. They look to be almost what you would see in a medical wing or some sort of infirmary. And the sign hanging above the narrow door says Medical Bay. Sarah, what does your character look like, and what are they doing in the medical bay?
Yeah, so I think that you, the audience, would see a pale human with roughly chin-length blonde hair that's pulled into a low ponytail. They've got sort of choppy bangs that cover part of one of their eyes and these wire-framed glasses. They are dressed for a lot of warmth, even though it's still summer. They're wearing a fleece sweater underneath, a lab coat underneath, a puffy blue coat with a fur hood. And I think that next to them, they have sort of this brown attaché case that's big enough to hold probably a stethoscope, some surgical tools, and who knows what else. And this is Dr. Larkin Ridley.
Yes. So, Dr. Ridley, you're sitting in here, presumably getting all your things in all your ducks in a row. You had only arrived earlier today and are being acquainted with your new medical space. And you're doing this when one of these Boilermasters pulls in a very burnt crew member and will lay him up on one of the beds. You hear him going and moaning very loudly as he is moved. It's almost as if his skin itself has been scalded on his face and up the left side of his body. And the Boilermaster, who is uninjured, will say, one of the boilers downstairs just backed up and blew out on him. I don't know what to do with him. I hope you do though, Doc.
I think that they're going to take off their glasses and clean them, and they're going to say, well, they are particularly fortunate that we've got some penicillin with us. It's particularly cutting edge, so all right, we'll give him a rest over here, and I assure you I will not allow any harm to come to this patient.
He looks at the man lying in the bed. He has it's a bald man in the bed, and then this burn going, this scalding going up their face, and he'll say, I don't know about having no pain come to him. It looks to be in pretty bad sorts, Doc.
I did not say pain. I said harm. Now, there's a couple tools I'd like you to grab for me, and could you get me some ether from that cabinet over there? I think it would be better if the patient is not conscious at the moment. We're going to bandage and dress these wounds. We're going to administer some penicillin to ensure that we reduce the risk of any infection. And I think that I'm just kind of going through this in my head, and I'm picking things up off of the cabinets as I'm saying this.
Absolutely.
I've just kind of recruited this person to grab things for me. This is not their job.
You, random person, assist me right now.
What's an ether?
In that case, Ridley, could you make a medicine roll for me?
Oh boy, first roll.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's an 18. My medicine score is a 70, so that is a middle success or whatever that's called. A hard success.
Okay. This other Boilermaster kind of nods his head a couple of times and then goes rummaging through the cabinets as you go through this procedure, or this checklist in your mind. He grabs a brown bottle and then pulls from his own pockets a already kind of dirty rag to hand to you. And you can douse the rag and put the man to sleep with no problem. You're going to administer penicillin?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Could you describe
And I'm
for
going to
us
be Ben.
what that looks like?
I think I've got some like syringes up with me. I think that I've brought them myself. I'm sure that the ship has provided them for me, but all of my things are like neatly organized in this this little attaché case that I have with me. I'm like cleaning the needle. I'm prepping it. I'm sort of muttering to myself at the same time, like asking this person, like, all right, now I need you to go grab the bandages. I believe they are in the second cabinet. I am still getting acquainted with this place, sort of as I'm administering the antibiotic.
Okay. And so it passes. So we cut to this man bandaged after you stick this needle into him. He seems to be moaning, unconscious in the bed. The other Boilermaster stands by the door, kind of looking worriedly between you, Dr. Ridley, and his crewmate. And we'll say, seems like a bad omen that one of the Boilermasters is injured on the first day. We've not even left harbor yet.
Well, I assure you, any harm that comes to any of these patients will be quickly rectified. My own career success depends on it, so you can guarantee I will do everything in my power.
So he's gonna be good to go again in a couple days, right? We've only got the 6 Boilermasters on board, so we need every hand we got.
I cannot make a perfect prognosis at the moment, but I can assure you he has the best odds possible being here in my medical room.
The man does not look that reassured, Ridley, but will
fair.
nod solemnly and kind of head back downstairs. Is there anything you do when you're alone?
I think that once this patient, I can sort of guarantee as well, is sort of under my eye. I think that I'm going to sort of close the door. I'm going to like put a little like turn the little sign on the door from like open to closed. And I think I'm going to sit in my chair and I think I'm just going to get a very short nap in.
Okay, wonderful. In that case, back in cabin number 7, you're all sitting in a strange silence. You can hear the creaking of the ship above you and below you and all around you as it gets ready for departure. It should be any time now. And you hear stomping of footsteps above you, people rushing to and fro, yells, laughter, especially from down the hallway at the mess hall. You hear a lot of laughter from there. And you hear almost like someone is walking down the hallway once more, and another person will peek their head into your cabin. This is a brown-haired, older man. He's no older than 40, but he looks, again, quite older than that. His face is wrinkled, likely due to wind or the cold or something like that. And additionally, he has no nose. And it seems to be just scarred over where once was a large nose, you might imagine. But he has a very large scar instead. And he is also wearing like a woolen sweater over top of some coveralls. He has heavy leather boots on, and he will look at the 3 of you sitting in here quietly and go, "Did someone die? What's going on in here?"
Winthrop looks over to the other 2 people. I think is Liam still asleep?
Is Liam still asleep?
It's kind of like half and half. He's like
he's
sort of
like
paying. He's like
drifting.
sort of paying attention, but he's
Yeah.
like purposely like pretending to be asleep, like not really acknowledging anything that's going on.
Okay.
Winthrop uses that
Too
and
cool
says,
for this.
Winthrop uses that and looks over to the person who just peeked in and says, "Oh, we were just keeping quiet for our companion here to get some rest."
Keeping quiet on the first day. That's pretty strange if you ask me. This is the first day of a voyage. Are y'all green or something? Never been on a ship before? First day of a voyage like this.
I mean, Liam.
First day of a voyage like this is the only time you really get to celebrate until we come back from it. If we come back from it. But that's neither here nor there. The name's Bright Gallant. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm staying in here. I'm your number 6, I guess. And he'll put out his hand to you, Winthrop, shakes vigorously, and then we'll put a hand out for you, Aspen, and shake your hand as well. And then he'll just kind of lightly clap Liam Vicari on the shoulder in a very rude gesture for someone who is sleeping. And he'll sit down on the bunk, like right next to you, Winthrop. and pull from his inside of his jacket is a flask, and he'll take a big sip and then hand it over, like hold it out if you wanted some, and wait.
Damn.
Winter's going to take it and like give it a light sniff before bring it up, and doesn't take a drink.
Like, yeah, it smells like rye.
Doesn't take a drink, but like seals it off with the teeth and the tongue.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
like gets like a bit of a taste of it, but like not drinking it, and then hands it back over.
Okay. And then he'll hold it out for you, Aspen, and say, "You want some?"
I'm going to open my my bag, and I'm gonna take a bigger flask.
Aspen's here to fucking party.
With like a cork top, and I'm going to pop it with one hand, and then I'm just going to like cheers it towards him.
Cheers.
And just like
He'll take a big swig.
take a swig off of mine as well.
He'll say, the last ship I was on was a dry cruise, no fun, lasted near half a year, and I almost lost my mind. We went out east, just regular fishing and everything. It's nice and warm though. Don't assume I'll be getting that luxury this time. What about the rest of you? Is this the first time on a ship? I made that joke earlier, but I really hope it's not.
Definitely not the first time for me. I have explored many bodies of water. I am a naturalist, just so you know.
Okay.
And I've studied things here and there, but this is definitely my first time getting that far up north.
Yeah. I mean, we're going all the way up top, so I mean, it's going to be everyone's first time that far north. First time in the entire world anyone's going that far.
Exactly. I'm going to make a name for myself up at my university. And they said that I cannot amount to much, but I'm great.
Oh, I'm sure. And he'll take a big swig and then look over to you, Winthrow, he's sitting on the bunk right next to him, and go, "What about you? Been on a ship like this before?"
At this point, Winter has put away the deck of cards.
Yes.
Like, I'm now engaging in conversation. It's not my first time. It's definitely been a couple of years. I generally tend to travel on the mainland for my adventures, but it's not my first time on a boat. Definitely, as you said, first time up north, so.
Well, it'll be an interesting one at the very least. There's some interesting folks. Well, I mean, there's this cabin, which is some weird... and he catches himself and he goes, "Just some interesting people. There's your sleeper guy up there. There's some new doctor on board. I've never heard their name before. Never heard anything about them amongst the crew. People talking about they think that Sawbones is kind of losing it. That's what we heard. People heard their name on shore talking about they have cadaver collection or something like that. Now I don't know if there's anything true about that. People, sailors, you know how they are. They'll talk about anything, make tall tales. You know, I've been one to spread a tall tale in my day, but you know what I mean. Just be on the lookout. I don't want to. We're sleeping in the same room as the person. I don't want to scare you or anything, but
Oh, please give me a break.
Oh, good morning.
Is actually Liam?
Yes.
is that Ben jumping in? Oh, you awake now? You want a drink? And he'll reach the flask up for you, Liam.
He's going to take it and take 2 big swigs
Damn.
Okay.
and then just hand it back.
He'll nod at you and say, "So what are you doing here?"
If you think some light conversation is going to amount to anything, you got another thing coming. I'm not here to make friends. So I don't think it's worth trying. I'm just here to do my job, and that's it.
Listen, I'm just here to do my job too. I'm just here. I just don't want to be stuck for half a year with people that I fucking hate. I've done that before. I'm not here for it again. So if we're going to have a problem, let's sort it out right now.
Oh, there's no problem.
Please,
Never
it
was.
is the first day of an expedition, and we haven't even left the mainland yet.
We'll be fine.
Everybody cool down a little.
While this is happening, I'm grabbing like a brown bag filled with peanuts from my bag.
Okay.
And I'm going to like crack some with my hands and like put some in my mouth. And to try and calm the situation down, like sort of offer some peanuts, like offer the bag if any of them wants any. It's too early for fighting. We can do that later.
Yeah, later when we're all sick and tired of one another. And he'll, Bright Gallant will kind of laugh and stand up at that. He'll take a couple of peanuts, but he seems to be mostly just moving towards that door into it. He'll look back over his shoulder and kind of glare a bit at you, Liam, and then he'll take another swig of his flask and say, I think the captain's gonna make some sort of announcement in the next couple of minutes, so you might want to get yourself topside for that if you're keen on it. Other than that, here's to the next half a year of our lives. And he'll raise his flask and then step out.
So these sawbones.
You don't actually believe any of that stuff he was talking about.
I mean, I've met many medical professionals who do keep an odd collection here and there. It's not much of my business, though.
Nothing scary about a ship and a doctor you've never met before. There's nothing to it.
I mean, I get you about people just having random collection of cadavers, but, if someone's going a little bit haywire in a ship for 6 months where you don't interact with anyone else,
What's
that's
a month?
pretty scary.
What's a month?
For a long time, being stuck on a ship with random people for a long time and someone's going, a little off the rail, that's pretty worrisome.
I mean, we can probably just see if we can catch a fish, keep them occupied.
If any sort of that thing happens, then they'll probably be the ones going overboard.
True.
If I have anything to say about it.
I mean, sure, you can push them out, but, well, I'm gonna...
I'm sure they can swim.
Well, I'm gonna go to the mess hall because apparently we need to go there. Is that correct? I don't know. I wasn't really listening. And I'm going to take another sip of my my drink.
Flask, yeah. You hear someone call out from down the hallway at the mess hall, and they go, "Hey, Captain's gonna give us a couple instructions. You goobers, you got zooks in your fucking box. Get the hell out of here."
Oh my god.
Winthrop just kind of steps off of her bunk and unfurls her coat that has on it a large orange scarf that's kind of tied around the right forearm of the sleeve, and kind of puts her arms through it, and she looks over to her two companions and says, "Well, I mean, ready to go?"
That's our roll call. Try not to get lost on the way up there.
We're coming! We're coming!
Jump off the bed and meander my way out of the room.
Well, isn't he just
large-
peachy?
How large is Liam?
He's
Like,
5'8". He's 5'8",
Okay.
and he's
Wide?
I guess he's not wide,
Mm-hmm.
but he's definitely got
Muscle?
Muscle and
a good frame to him.
okay,
Beef
okay,
boy.
okay. Yeah, he's beefy. Okay, so Liam heads out. Winthrop says, "So that guy, right?"
I think, Winthrop will wait for Aspen to get up and
Okay.
everything.
I mean, I was already closer to the door.
Yeah, the two of you get
I'm
up.
just going to
and-
cater them to
continue.
go through the door. I'm like, okay. I'm not
After
really in
you.
a rush.
No, after you. No, after you.
And so all of you make your way down the hallway, back to the mess hall and up the stairs. Someone runs down to the medical bay, and you hear a ta 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 on the door, Ridley, and you hear this same person go, "Hey Doc, open up, open up! There's gonna be a dress upstairs. I don't know if you want to be there for that. You probably should. It's just the way of things. I don't know." And they continue ta 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 at the door, completely interrupting any sleep you might have been getting.
Oof.
I think that Ridley kind of would be. I feel like Ridley would actually be awoken by the sort of the loud bustle of people, and would probably shrug off the very heavy coat and be checking in first and foremost on the bandaged patient before making any move to perhaps listen to an announcement, maybe seeing how they're doing, seeing if they're able to sit up now and at least be in minimal pain.
Yeah. It seems to be on their forehead seems to be blistering slightly. They can sit up almost, but not quite. And they seem to be having trouble saying full words.
Okay. I think that I'm going to say, all right, there seems to be some sort of situation back there. They're wanting to have the members of the ship go listen to somebody. During normal circumstances, I would not want to leave a patient. However, given these, you do appear to be conscious. Your current pain level, you may not be entirely able to speak at this moment. Are you able to hold up a number of fingers to indicate 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt, 1 being no pain at all?
You see him hold up his like right hand and just all of his fingers, and you see his like left hand twitch, but he can't really move it, and he'll just like, I can't see.
All right. Given these particular circumstances, it does not seem entirely wise to move you from where we are currently located. That being the case, perhaps it would be out of my responsibility to leave you here at the moment. Why don't you get a little bit of rest? Your wounds should be bandaged up. Your risk of infection should be significantly reduced. Unfortunately, your burns are going to need time to heal on their own. There is not much I can do for you given those circumstances. However, you seem to have been saved from either more serious injury than could have been possible or death. So your circumstances are... I'm optimistic about your future on this ship, I shall say.
As they like, you give this lecture to them as they just like essentially whimper in pain.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to open that door and head on out?
I don't think I should leave the patient
Okay.
at this moment. So what I think I might do is I'll open the door and sort of like listen in from where I am. I'm imagining things will probably be like at least possible to hear from here.
Okay.
Whether it's like the captain themselves giving the announcement or just like the whispers of people like, oh, did you hear that? The captain said this.
In that case, give me a listen check, please.
Ooh, another roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridley's doing all the rolls today. Dr. Ridley.
That's a 61. What's my listen score?
Should be just 20
I think it's
base.
less. Yes, that I added 22, so 40, so that is not a success.
Okay. There's a lot of creaking and commotion. You might be able to hear certain things, but nothing specific from down here, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's to be expected.
Okay. I'll have to speak to someone later. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And so we find ourselves above deck. Most of the crew has been assembled. Some of the people in charge of the boilers and engines down below are not here, and some people doing final preparations aren't here either. And of course, Dr. Ridley is also not here. But the rest of you can be assembled in the mess hall and like on the stairs almost. And at the like center of the room is a man dressed in very thick woolen garments. He has a like fur cuffed around his neck, and he's an orc, and he looks very tall. He's probably just under 7 feet tall, and looks to be if this description makes sense, a muscular man who looks to be starving, if that makes any sense. He does not look well fed or well rested. And looks
So he looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, let's go with that. God. And he is standing here, that dwarven shipmaster Wright, as you might recall, Aspen, is standing to his left. And to his right is a dark-skinned woman who has a shaved head, who is wearing these orange robes. And she's holding a censer on a chain and kind of like drifting it around, this incensed smoke drifting through the room, making it smell heavily of a sage of some sort. And it just gives a very smoky atmosphere to this room. That captain, the orc, will kind of look around as people seem to come in after waiting minutes and seemingly checking his watch a couple of times, like a pocket watch. It's golden and looks quite nice. He seems to be a man of means, if in, it just to the eye, well-dressed clothes and all this other stuff. He will, once everyone is assembled, or what he deems is an acceptable time to wait for everyone to assemble, he will clear his throat. Welcome aboard the Aegolius. I am your captain, Hugh Bowes. You will call me Captain Bowes. You will not address me by other titles. You will not call me by other names behind my back. This is a perilous voyage, and you have all been chosen due to your experience sailing in the Arctic. For those of you who are not joining us as sailors, I welcome you aboard. I welcome your expertise to this crew. With that, he looks at you, Liam, when he kind of says that, and his eyes glance over at you, Winthrow, and Aspen as well. While you're aboard this ship, you will be asked to participate as a member of its crew. When you are given orders, you are to comply with them. We will make it through this alive and well and all in one piece if we are all functioning together, one well-oiled machine. The heat will stay on at all times. When you come down from the top deck, be sure to close the doors behind you. If we find that you're leaking heat out, there will be punishments. The ship only has so much oil to go, and we'll be making stops once a week to mine the bergs. And he'll nod at you again, Liam, for more of it. The ship won't be turning around until we hit the North Pole. No alternatives. And he'll blink, and there's like quiet coughing as he just looks around at everyone. Shipmaster Wright will be the one to dish out commands in my stead if I'm not available. I will be on the bridge at most times if you need to find me. And else, I'll be in my quarters. And I would ask you not to disturb me. On the third deck, there is a room which is off limits. It's titled Cargo 3, but it is the worship room for our esteemed guests. And he'll kind of gesture towards this woman standing next to him in that orange robe. As you look at it, the robe seems to have embroidery on it of fire and suns. There's also lighthouses embroidered upon it as well. And that golden censer that she's holding is also has embossed patterns in it, similar imagery of fires and such things. Additionally, there's eyes on that pattern as well, these sort of things. And the captain will continue. Keeper Vivian and her colleague Keeper Devon will be using this as a worship room. If you are a holy person, feel free to go and pray there. Otherwise, stay out of their business. They have funded a mighty amount of this expedition, and we owe them a great deal of thanks for your paychecks, the food on our tables, the oil in this hull, and all the means to make it to the north and back. Is there any questions? More coughing. People kind of looking around a bit. And do the three of you do anything at this time? What are the three of you doing while this is assembly is occurring, I guess?
Aspen is paying attention very closely, and I guess looking around at the other crew members and seeing sort of their demeanor, like maybe a sense of respect for the captain. Are they sort of afraid because this is an unknown charter? Just getting a sense or a feel for the environment is what Aspen's doing.
Okay. What about Liam and Winthrow?
I would say Liam is sort of like breathing in like the sea air and sort of like occasionally looking out over the horizon just to see like the expanse and the water.
Yeah.
Before going back and like continuing to pay attention to the captain's speech.
Absolutely.
From Winthrow's pocket, she pulled out a small black notebook, and she's kind of like in shorthand, just kind of writing whatever the captain is saying. And then when he brings up the worship room and the people and the clothes, she just kind of looks at them, like not as like not like a straight out staring, but like kind of like head tilted, like a glance, and then like just start like writing down like Just stuff that she notices.
Okay. In that case, let's do it in this order then. Liam, could you make me a listen roll as you look out over the horizon? I would say you're standing on the stairs or seated on the stairs almost and like looking out one of the portholes here and just staring out at that sea still docked in harbor.
Let's see. So my listen is 40, and I rolled a 19, so I believe that is a hard success.
That is a hard success. That is less than half. You hear, in that case, Liam, almost a bit louder in your ears than the captain's voice. It kind of melts away as your eyes drift out and your attention changes to the sea. You hear this almost angelic singing for you it's humming a small tune in your ears, and it almost feels... Was there something that your parents sang to you when you were like a kid, like a lullaby or something like that?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably have been like the same, like a lullaby that would have been passed down from like generation to generation.
Yeah. You hear that, a very sweet, sugary sweet kind of sound on the wind as you listen and look. I think it might catch you off guard a bit. Can you make a sanity check for me?
Oh, shit. So I'm going to assume I have to roll my D100s and...
Yes. So that is roll your D100. If you get less than your sanity, then you will have succeeded. And if you get above your sanity, you will have failed.
What happens if I just meet it?
That's success.
Okay, I rolled a 60 and my sanity is 60.
Okay. Please lose one sanity as you succeed. And that voice kind of like rings in your ears. That little lullaby, that sweet lullaby rings in your ears for a few moments and then vanishes as you look back to the captain when he like says, "Any questions?" Right? That kind of rings your attention back into true. Winthrow.
Yep.
You were just marking everything down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just like shorthand, like keep everything closed, like don't open anything, like blah, blah, blah.
And then like looking at that, this religious figure standing here. I'm trying to look if there's a skill to like know anything about who they would be. Like what associated thing there is, because the captain doesn't
Like
say
history?
anything about that. I think history would do it. Yeah. Could you make a history roll for me?
Sure. That is an 84, so absolutely
Oof.
not.
Oh, no.
In no way, in any way.
They are assuredly religious in some manner. There's an ominous and like commanding air about this woman, and that is all you really know. And then finally, Aspen, you were just kind of like listening to the other crew members to see what their general like take on what the captain was saying was, right? Some of the people are like murmuring. Like there's a guy specifically, you had spoken to him earlier, Mason. He's a greasy man, covered in like grease stains on his pants itself, and his hands are stained. And every time he is coughing, he's whispering to the person next to him, and they seem to be like making fun of the guy.
Oh, damn.
Like he's taking this pretty seriously. Standing next to you, or like sliding up next to you, is your other cabin mate, that man without the nose, bright gallant, and he'll whisper over to you and say, "You ever heard of this guy before? The captain?"
Have I?
You could make a history check or a history roll.
More history.
All history, all the time.
Welcome to the History
Or is there
Network.
like a streetwise kind of check? No, I think history
I
might
don't
be
think
it.
so.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
a vibe check?
Yeah, make a vibe check.
Psychoanalysis.
So that's a 27, and my
Okay.
thing is 40. So that is
Oh, okay.
a success? What kind of success?
Yes, it is. It is. It's
Yeah.
just a regular success in
Regular
that case.
success.
Captain Hugh Bowes, you looked him up before you came here. He was registered as a shipmaster on a couple of ships prior, but it doesn't, from your research, you never saw him sail anything for the last 5 or so years. So that's all you know of him.
I just know very minimal about them. What do you know about
Okay.
Captain Bowes?
All I know is what I heard on deck earlier, walking around. Just whispers, really. It's nothing to put too much faith in. You know the type. Just about his character, about what he's doing here. He's never been a captain before. You knew that, right?
I'm just
I don't trust a person leading us up north on a never before done kind of expedition who doesn't have experience, you know?
okay. I'm just going to like nod at this, but make sure that it's not something that the captain will see, because at that point,
Yeah.
I think that they're very strict and would not want people talking while he's talking. So I'm sort of like,
Yeah, you're both being very discreet as you have this short conversation. And in the silence which follows, the captain asking for any questions, that religious figure, this woman in the orange robes, will kind of step forwards and she'll say, "If you would all bow your heads for but a moment as I say a prayer to the holy deity on high, as to bless our voyage and permit us a safe travel home from the worlds of darkness far in the north." And she'll bow her own head. Do you bow your heads?
yes, Aspen does.
Okay.
Winthrow does, but also just kind of just still writing in the notebook, like looking down, just like, okay, this is a better excuse to just write things.
And Liam?
No.
Okay. Liam, as you don't bow your head, you see that many of the other crew members also don't, and they just stare at this woman. An assorted few, maybe a handful, 10 or so, do. But for the reference, there's about 90 people gathered in this room. That seems to be the totality of the crew.
Wow,
But about
10%.
10 people, yeah, about 10 people bow their heads. The captain doesn't, nor does the shipmaster. But this woman bows her head and seems to be whispering under her breath in some language which you all do not know. And when she finishes that, she will look up and say, "May light guide us where we tread in lands of darkness far to the north. May the great deity Siltran bless our path and return us wholly to the world of light." And she seems to step back with that. Downstairs, while this is happening, Dr. Ridley, you hear just murmurings and coughing coming from upstairs. Hard to hear over the moaning of this injured boiler master in your room. You hear, though, very loudly, a rap on the door, knocking. Knock, knock, knock on the metal. You did not hear footsteps approaching, however.
I'm gonna go check on that.
Okay, you turn in your chair and open this door. A bald man is standing at the door. Similar, there's a lot of bald people on this ship, but he's wearing orange robes embroidered with suns and eyes and lighthouses. He holds a censer made of gold in his hands, and for all intents and purposes, looks very similar to that woman in the mess hall right now. Not that you would know she's there. He is very pale-skinned and has almost gray eyes, and he will look at you when you open this door and say, "Good day, doctor. Would you mind if I enter and place a blessing upon your small clinic?"
Well, you have every right to come in here so long as you do not disturb the patient. There is quite a bit of pain at the moment, so please do, but...
Someone's been injured already.
Unfortunately, there was a bit of an accident with the boiler.
He kind of licks his lips a little bit and steps over the threshold into the room. This scent of sage fills the room, Dr. Ridley, and the man lying in the bed coughs a couple of times and continues his moaning. This person standing here will look at you and say, "My name is Keeper Devon. It's a pleasure to meet you, Doctor. Although, if I'm to be honest with you, I don't understand your purpose here on this ship."
Well, to be completely frank, I do not understand your confusion as to my purpose. As you can already see, there's quite a bit of necessity for a medical professional aboard this fine expedition right here.
You've barely bandaged this man up. Myself and Keeper Vivian could do much better work if only you brought him to the worship room. he could bathe in the holy light and walk again in no time.
Well, I assure you, I believe that my patients are capable of making informed decisions about what they might do once they leave my medical bay, but as they are currently located here, I have certain procedures I need to follow. Once this patient is released, I leave that choice completely up to him.
Of course. You don't mind me saying a few short words, though, to bless this well-intentioned place.
I suspect you're going to say them either way, so please.
I would not. If you don't wish me to say the words, you need only send me away. I can't speak for what the darkness shall do when we get further north, however. Our great deity Siltrin holds such fearsome things at bay, mighty is
Mr.
their
Devon.
power. Oh, yes. Keeper Devon, not Mr.
Keeper Devon. This is going to be a long expedition.
Yes.
I see that our methods might come into conflict. I would not like such an issue to be prolonged. As long as you respect my practice, then I am happy to respect yours. So say your words, but please just do not interfere with what I have set out to do.
I would never interfere with what you're doing here. That would be against the will of my God.
Well, that's certainly a relief to hear.
And he licks his lips as he looks. He doesn't look you in the eye ever during this entire conversation. It's always looking down at that man laying in the bed. And he'll say his short words in a language that I do not think you would know, whispered, hushed under his breath. And then at the end, he will stand full upright and close his eyes and say, "May the great light, blessed in nature, guide us home at the end of this dark voyage. I will see you another day, Doctor. I wish your patient the best health."
I think the corners of their mouth are kind of like tightening a little bit, just like I don't really want this person to be here. And so I think they just, I think that they're getting up and they're already, just even as Keeper Devon is talking, like preparing like a morphine solution, like just like stirring it while they're speaking. And they just say, "Thank you for visiting. Should you ever require medical attention, feel free to visit, though I doubt that you will."
Should I require medical attention, I will pray to my God. And he will lick his lips and look you in the eyes just this one time. And there's something missing there, Ridley. There's something missing in that man's eyes as he steps out of your medical bay.
Good to know.
And underneath your feet, everyone, in the minutes following these interactions, you feel a shifting as the Aegolius sets into motion. You hear loud horns from on the top deck ring out, and you are now firmly on the voyage to the North Pole.